You're watching TVC Breakfast. Nigeria, for the first time in history, enjoyed 20 years of unbroken civilian rule.
The presidential system, which defines the 20 years, has its ups and downs, but how has this impacted the life of Nigerians in this democratic era? TVC News senior political correspondent has details.
In spite of the successes in the last 20 years in sustaining democracy, Nigeria's democratic journey is still facing a lot of hurdles like corruption, unemployment, insecurity, and huge infrastructure deficits. Over the years, corruption has been identified as one of the greatest threats to the survival of democracy in Nigeria, and it has remained a focal point in all election campaigns, especially with the present administration. The nation slipped into recession in 2016, with the latest growth figures showing that the economy contracted 2.06% between April and June, but bounced back in the last quarter of 2017, growing 1.92%. Security has remained in the spotlight since the emergence of the terrorist group Boko Haram in 2009. More than 2.3 million people have been displaced by the conflict since May 2013, and at least 250,000 have left Nigeria and fled to Cameroon, Chad, and Niger Republic. Boko Haram killed over 6,600 in 2014 alone, carried out mass abduction, including the kidnap of 276 schoolgirls from Chibok in April 2014. With a growing trend of kidnapping, farmer headers crisis, and armed banditry in the parts of the north, the issue of security remains a priority among other issues. As the country continues its democratic journey, Nigerians expect to benefit more from the system that places more emphasis on the people. Ayodele Zubakun, TVC News, Lagos.
All right, if you check the last 20 years, one way or the other, the experiment of periodic elections, Nigerians are getting that.
They're getting a hang of what it is to participate fully in elections. It's a democratic process. They are saying that they have a say and they can lend their voice to certain decisions on who leads them for the next 4 years.
The other areas are independence of the judiciary, the rule of law, which a lot of Nigerians see it should change the way we approach it all of that. It's all right. We have joining us in the studio now a lawyer, Ahmed Abbas, to talk on Nigeria's democratic journey so far in various areas. Good morning and happy handover day. I was saying it earlier. It is only in Nigeria you have happy everything. There's happy new month, happy new week, happy Saturday, happy weekend, and all of that. Nice to see you, really.
It's a pleasure.
All right, now when we talk about democracy and periodic elections, we're getting that gradually now, like I was discussing with my colleague. But other areas which Nigerians are really looking forward to see the real semblance of democracy are still lacking. The area of the rule of law is there, the independence of the judiciary, and all of that. What should really change in the new dispensation from your understanding?
I think what the government needs to do is they need to galvanize the entire society, because you see, the crusade to evolve a functional society is not what the president alone can do. It's not, look, if you interface with agencies that are supposed to be channels of distribution of dividends of governance, when you interrogate them, Nigerians will always come out with sour taste there. But it's a collective assignment. So the government must involve a mechanism for evolving the entire society. The president alone, for example, cannot fight corruption. If you talk about violation of violation of rights, rule of law, the president alone cannot single-handedly ensure and guarantee rule of law. Go to your police station as the basic center of government versus society relationship. Do those officers imbibe the culture that when a Nigerian approach them?
So the orientation has to change.
Absolutely. Okay. The National Orientation Agency has a lot of work to do, because if you see the way the philosophy of Nigerians to Nigeria and things like that, it's an attitudinal change that will actually evolve and help us to evolve a society that will be progressive in nature development.
Actually, when you talk about attitudinal change, actually that will resonate with the realities on ground. But Nigerians, some of these things, when you listen to some of the jingles they put out there on TV, and what impact do all of this have in the life of someone who may be said to be hungry, who wants this and who wants that basic need first, before you even think about patriotism?
That's what I'm saying. That Nigerians are not the problem, but the agencies. The agencies. Look, if you put out jingles, no amount of jingles, it's like running a restaurant. No amount of public relation that you do, if your meal or the services you are rendering is nothing to write home about, you can't deceive the society. So that's just it. If the government, what the government should do is put pressure on your agencies. Let there be a culture of service to Nigerians. Let there be a culture of service to Nigerians. So it's leadership by example? By example. So that when, for example, if you go to any government agency, you need a passport. For God's sake, there shouldn't be official rate and unofficial rate. If you go to your passport office, they will tell you the official rate is this amount. If you pay for the official rate, it's going to take you 90 days. But if you pay for the unofficial rate, it's going to take, wait and get. Those little things. Those little things.
Okay, they matter.
No, they matter a lot.
All right, we have to leave it here now. Ahmed Abbas, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Right.
Well, we have recorded some successes, and we have also had our share of challenges in the economy. Look.
All right, now looking at growth projections, stability and investment flow in the past 20 years, how has Nigeria fared? Now, these are some of the questions Nigerians, when inflation rate, a lot of people look at the inflation rate put out by either Nigeria Bureau of Statistics and all of these agencies, and they say, well, inflation rate is dropping gradually, which is a good thing for the books, but how are these translating?
Affecting the common man on the streets.
The value of the currency he has in his pocket. So if he goes out with, for instance, if you had 20,000 naira in the last 20 years, what can 20,000 naira buy at that time? And then now, what can 20,000 naira buy?
That's a huge question.
These are the things. And then the cost of everyday things like rents. Your rents, the house rents are increasing marginally.
Of course.
Then when you talk about food, transportation, when the cost of all of these things are increasing.
Keep fluctuating.
So an ordinary man would like to say, when you're talking about inflation rate is dropping, the value of the currency is stabilizing, it's not translating
to anything that affects me, then what are you saying?
And like we had Ahmed Abbas saying, these things are going to affect how people become patriotic.
Of course,
because
definitely.
You're saying, I should be patriotic. Thank God I want to be patriotic, but I'm hungry.
Another aspect is the fact that people are ready to pay for services that you're rendering.
Exactly.
Especially when it comes to electricity, you want me to pay, then it should be available. So all of these things are some of the things that,
those are the dynamics.
That shape the minds of people when they want to make certain decisions as to staying in the country, living in the country, being patriotic or not being patriotic.
All right, we'll wait to see how the new dispensation or the new dawn will
address all of these issues. Well, joining me now in the studio is a lawyer, Ahmed Abbas, to talk on Nigeria's democratic journey. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you.
Now, a new cycle of government or administration begins today. But then, when you look at since 1999, how far have we come? Yes, 20 years of unbroken democratic rule. But how far, if you want to critically look at it?
Well, I think given the circumstances we found ourselves prior to 1999, especially under the military rule, we should give ourselves some, we should, let me say, should I be religious? Let us give God thanks that at least it's a journey and it's a continuous one, and in spite of the hiccups here and there, I think we are making progress because it has been uninterrupted. Yes.
Beyond the uninterruption, when you look at in quantitative and qualitative terms, have we achieved as much?
No, if you interrogate an average Nigerian, I think we expect so much the impact of our government over the years on the lives of our people till we have a long way to go. That's the honest truth.
But somehow...
We have a long way to go.
Really? How long is that way?
Very, very long way to go. Long way to go.
Why?
Yes, because, can I tell you one of the reasons why?
Why?
If you look at today now, the Americans are tweeting their visa process. Why? Are they tweeting their visa process? No more Dropbox. You have to come. And the reason is not far-fetched. There's a problem of influx of Nigerians into Canada and overstaying of Nigerians because they are seeking for greener pasture. The honest truth is that the economy is not expanding to accommodate new entrants into the labor market. The honest truth remains that the economy, I mean, Nigerians have, if you ask an average Nigerian, they're actually not too happy.
But then
with
a new cycle
begins
today. So
that's why I say
what are the
expectations? But we expect the government to do more. To do more, yes. The
what aspects?
Several aspects. The economy, security-wise, continuous fight against corruption, run an inclusive government, deepen the economy, run an inclusive financial system. Because as of today now, in any developed economy, the SMEs are the drivers of the economy. But in Nigeria today, you can't, the banks are not banking, they are not doing banking business. They are not doing banking business. You have a brilliant idea, walk to any bank and ask them to finance the thing. They will ask you to go and bring a certificate of occupancy from the moon. And a system where people don't have access to cheap credit facility, you can't develop that economy. People have brilliant ideas, but how do they bankroll the project?
Ideas.
Yes, so the government must put in structures in place to ensure that, look, if you have an idea, if the idea is feasible and doable, the banks should be compelled.
All right. Ahmed, Abbas, thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you.